my night owls. Hello. Today I want to talk to you guys about weird dreams. Yes, weird dreams. I have lots of weird dreams. Like last night, I had a dream that I had children, one boy, one girl, and we moved into this house that was haunted, and my little boy tried to tell me that something was wrong with the house, but I wouldn't listen to him, and so he ended up possessed. And I was wondering, how the heck did my child become possessed? I don't understand this. And my little girl's all like, well, Mommy, he did try to tell you something was wrong with the house, but you wouldn't listen to him. And then it did like a little flashback type thing, and my little boy came to me. He's like, Mommy, something's wrong with the house. There's a bad lady in the house, and she wants to possess me. And I don't know why I didn't listen to my child. I got possessed, and some weird stuff happened. I can't remember the rest of it, but I remember having little children and them coming up to me and saying, this is a bad lady in the house who wants to possess us and do bad things. And I'm like, okay. I have had a lot of head scratcher dreams. Have you ever had that dream that was so bizarre that you're like, what the heck? And sometimes you wonder if you're on drugs. Like, I tell my best friend my dreams, and she's like, were you on drugs before you went to sleep? I'm like, no, I don't do drugs. But I don't know, like, I have the weirdest freaking dreams. It's freaking ridiculous. And I wonder sometimes if I'm on drugs when I'm sleeping. Like, they are so freaking creepy. And there was this one dream I had where I dreamt I was a soldier that just came back from the army, and he was being followed. And so he was all nervous and looking around, looking behind him, and all that stuff like that. And it was so weird and so real. It was ridiculous. And sorry, my cat is right here, and he's laying on me, and I'm playing with his tail. That's why you see me doing whatever with my hands. Anyway, so I don't know. It was so realistic. He was so nervous. I could feel it. He was nervous, and I don't know, like, something told him to turn around, so he turned around, and right when he turned around, there was this guy standing there, and the guy shot him, and he ended up dying. And then it faded to his wife and children, and she was sitting there crying and holding her child, and her child is crying, and it was just so heartbreaking. I'm like, oh. And that's not the only weird dream. I had another dream. Not all in the same night, by the way. These are out through the one night. The first one I told you was last night's dream. That dream was like a couple months. No, I think that was like a year back. I can remember these dreams so vividly because they were so bizarre that it sticks with you. And so, this dream I'm going to tell you, I was standing in front of this door, and I heard banging, just like loud banging, and I'm like, what's on the other side of that door? It had me drawn to it, and it was red, blood red, and it had vines all over it, like dead vines all over it, and I don't know, I was looking at it, and all I could hear was banging on the door, and I'm like, I kind of want to open it to see like who's on the other side of it, but then again, I had a bad feeling about that door. I'm like, no, I shouldn't open that door, but I want to open that door. I want to know what's behind that door and who is banging on the door. So I was so fixed on this door, and so I finally got the courage up to go over and touch the door to grab it, to open it, but I woke up right after I opened it, so I don't know who was on the other side of the door. I'm like, who's on the other side of the door banging? I want to know. But, like, it's so weird, and these are, like, years back when I had these, and I still remember them because they're so vivid and they're so realistic that you won't forget them. And then I had this other dream where this was around the time I got my disability. I had a dream that I was being stabbed in the back, and it was so vivid. The pain was real, absolutely real. The person was standing behind me, and he had his hand over my mouth, and my eyes were like huge, wide, and I just kept feeling him just kept sticking the knife into me, and it was so realistic. And of course, at the time, of course, like right when I woke up, I was having major back pain. It was my body telling me something is wrong. You're having a lot of back pain to wake up. And that's why I had that dream. I told the doctor that, and that's what he told me. That's the reason why I had that dream, is because my body was telling me that something was wrong and that I needed to wake up because something was wrong. And so sometimes your dreams can be weird and wacky, but sometimes they are also telling you something, that something is wrong and that you need to wake up and stuff like that. I've had a couple of dreams like that where like it told me to wake up, and I wake up and then something would happen. I had one dream I was sleeping and my sister came to my window. This was like the time that my mom and my sister got into a fight, and she tried to escape out through my window. Well, anyways, so before that, I was sleeping and I heard her calling my name, but I was dreaming at the time, so I was dreaming that someone was yelling my name, but it was out through a window. There was a person out through the window in my dream, and I was sitting there and I was looking out the window and I'm like, who the heck is that? And it was so pitch black, I couldn't see the person, and I'm like, who's there? And I kept hearing Alicia, 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 and I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh, wake up. So I wake up, and my sister is out my window, and I'm like, and then she slept here with her boyfriend, now ex-boyfriend, but now boyfriend, I don't know. It was so weird how I had a dream that somebody was outside my window in my dream calling my name, and then in reality there was somebody actually outside my window calling my name, and it was my sister. See, your dreams, they are wacky and weird and crazy and sometimes very, very mysterious, and you don't know what the fridge is going on, and you think you took a whole bunch of pills before you went to sleep. But sometimes they actually tell you something, like there's something wrong with your body. Like I had a dream where I was being stabbed in the back, and I woke up and had a lot of back pain, and then soon after I got transverse myelitis. Then my sister was calling my name to wake me up to get inside my house, and I dreamt someone was outside a window calling my name. Also had a dream where my teeth fell out. Yeah, I remember this dream. It was a normal day. I was going along my day, and I decided I wanted to have an apple. So I was eating it. It was normal. It tasted delicious. And then all of a sudden, my teeth started to fall out. And I started to freak out. I'm holding my teeth in my hand, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I'm looking at my mom, who's sitting there, and I'm like, Mom, what's going on? And I was just like freaking out, and I started crying, and blood was in my mouth. It was so gross. And I don't know, like, I was sitting there, and I just had my teeth in my hands, and blood was coming out of my mouth, and I was sobbing. I didn't understand what the frick was going on. And of course I woke up. Like, I don't know, I was like freaking out, like, what the heck, why? And I looked it up. I looked up, I had a dream that my teeth fell out. What does it mean? It means when your body is under a lot of stress, you end up dreaming that your teeth fall out. Or you have a dream that your hair is falling out. Because you're under so much stress, you have fucked up dreams. And of course, I was under a lot of stress. I remember, like, right after I looked it up. I'm like, well, that makes sense because I'm under a lot of stress. I'm trying to keep my mom from going under stress, and of course I go under stress because my mom's going under stress, and so I had a dream that my teeth fell out. Yeah. Then I had this other dream where I was home. I was here, right where I am, and I got a call from a doctor, and I answered not knowing who the number is. I'm like, maybe it's somebody, I don't know, maybe it's an emergency, I don't know. So, and of course we had a feeling it said answer the phone. So I answered the phone, I'm like, yeah, and the person's all like, hey, you need to come to the hospital. Your mom's in the hospital. Y'all know how I feel about my mom. And I started freaking out. I'm like, oh my god, okay, I have to call, I have to get a ride. So I called my best friend. On the phone, sobbing with my best friend. I need a ride to the hospital. Can you give me a ride to the hospital? She's like, yeah, sure. So she comes and gets me, and she takes me to the hospital. We get to the hospital, and I'm sitting in the waiting room. My dad's there, my sister's there, my two sisters are there, my one brother's there, my dad's there, practically my whole family's there. I'm not going to sit there and name everyone that's in my family. So we're all there, we're all sitting there, and we're waiting. Doctor comes out finally, and he's talking with my dad. We can't really hear the conversation. He just wanted to talk to my dad all by himself. So we're waiting for them to get done talking. And the doctor leaves, and my dad's standing there, and he starts crying. And I'm like, what are you crying for? Why are you crying? And he comes over to everyone, and the doctor said that she wasn't going to live for very much longer. I sat there and it didn't sink in at first. I just sat there, and I felt like his words went in one ear and went out the other ear. So I don't know. Everyone else was around me sobbing and crying, and I was just sitting there, empty. And I just disconnected from the world. Just sat there. And I didn't believe it. And then the doctor came back in, saying, you should go and say bye. So, everyone made their way out, made their way down the room, say goodbye, did whatever. I sat there, zoned out. I was zoned out. I sat there, and it was like, I wasn't connected to my body. I legitimately was not connected to my body. I remember I was sitting in this chair, but myself was over here. So it's like an outer body experience. And I was sitting there, zoned out. I was here, looking at myself. My dad comes over, and he's all like, come on, Alicia, you need to go say bye to your mother. And I watched myself walk out. Of course, I floated alongside myself, and I was watching myself walk down the hall like a freaking zombie, zoning out. Got to the room, just hooked up to all these machines. It reminded me of my grandmother when she passed away. Because I went in and I went and saw her. And she was hooked up onto these machines. Machine to help her breathe. IVs and all that. It reminded me of that day very much. And I didn't say anything. I just stood there. And I stared at my mom for I don't know how long. I didn't say a word. Dad's like, I'll leave you alone, and then I'll come back. So he left. I didn't say anything to him. And I stood there. I looked at my mom, and I slowly started drifting back into my body. Like the outer experience was over with, and I was starting to slowly come back in to myself. And the feeling that I felt at that time was horrible. It was complete, utter darkness. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. It was horrible, and a feeling that I would never want to experience. And I couldn't say nothing to my mom. I didn't know what to say. So I walked out of the room, not saying anything to my mom, not even goodbye, not even I love you. I couldn't. So I walked out. Dad's like, you're done already? I'm like, yeah, I'm done already. I finally talked to him. And he's like, did you say goodbye? Yeah, I said goodbye. And went back to the waiting room. And went sitting there crying, sobbing, being a big old mess. And I'm just sitting there, not doing anything. Everyone is all confused. Why aren't you crying, Alicia? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? I don't know, something broke in me. I just snapped. And I flipped out on everyone. You have no fucking right to fucking cry. I just went off on them. I bitched out every single one of them. You have no freaking right to freaking be upset. You don't have any right to cry. Because none of you were there for my mom, but me. I had to watch her suffer, and you know what she died of in the dream? A heart attack. She died from a heart attack. A thing that I've been trying to keep her from having. And so I bitched at everyone and told them it's their fault that she's freaking dead because they didn't help her. I just legitly lost it. And then I walked out of the hospital. My dad tried to stop me, and I told him to fuck off. I didn't want nothing to do with him. And I came home, and I sat there, and I broke down and cried. My best friend was with me because she drove me to the hospital. And of course, I didn't want nothing to do with my freaking family after that. So I called my best friend up. She had to end up coming back and getting me. And I got back to my place, and I just broke down and started crying. I cried and cried and cried and cried. I cried so much that I started crying in real life. I woke up, I was lucid. I was kind of half awake, half sleeping. I could hear what was going on out in the real world. And I could hear myself crying in my sleep. I sat there and I cried. And I could hear myself crying in real life, and there was something heavy sitting on my chest. Like it was drowning me. I just cried. And I woke up finally. And I wiped my tears, and I told my mom the dream that I had. And she told me, Alicia, that's not gonna happen. And I was thinking, you never know. I thought it. I didn't say it. You never know. Because of how much stress she's under. You never know. Anyways, that's my dreams. They're only dreams. But that dream, it was very close to reality. So, if you have any weird dreams, let me know. I'm very, very, very interested. I love dreams. I don't like my own sometimes. I sometimes have really scary dreams. But if I have any more dreams, I'll love to share it with you. I'm thinking about making this thing on my channel, talking about dreams. So, yeah. That's the end of this video, my night owls. And if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. And I'll see all you night owls tomorrow. Goodbye.